Oh, what's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about the NASCAR chase. NASCAR brought the chase back, obviously, and thank God they did. The playoff format was horrible, and we had to deal with it for a decade. Okay, well, there we go. That's a blooper. We had to deal with it for a decade of our lives, so that sucked. But finally, a way better points format is back again. I wish it was playoff points at least. Still, you get bonuses for winning and getting stage wins and stuff. Just adding a little bit more of a cushion, but it's fine. It's a fine format. It's way better than what we had. So, um, the chase is in a few weeks. There's like 2 races left in the regular season. And there's a lot of talk. Who's really got the best shot to win this championship? And I'm going to say it right here: Denny Hamlin's going to win the championship this season. It just seems like he's picking the guy who's first in points. No, hear me out. Look, Denny Hamlin. We all know what happened last year, right? Oh God, just absolute insanity happened in that championship race last season. Um, People can say what they want. It is what it is. It happened a while ago. It's a new season, and Denny Hamlin is still at the top of his game. It just doesn't feel like there's an oval race, especially on an intermediate track this season. It just hasn't felt like there's been an oval race that he hasn't had a shot to win at. It just doesn't. Excuse me. Um, Obviously, I had like the 3 race win streak in the summer. Um, was lightning fast before that. Doled it out with Tyler Reddick at Kansas, a chase track. Had a good shot to win the Coke 600. I believe he was really fast that race, as all the Toyotas were. There was a point in like stage 2 where I feel like 5 Toyotas were battling for the lead, and they were all with each other. It looked like a fucking NASCAR Heat 5 or NASCAR 25 league race, but um, the Toyotas have been lightning fast this season, especially on intermediates. We know this. And they still have great speed on the short tracks. You got guys like Briscoe being in the hunt with Logano late at Richmond. Ty Gibbs winning at Bristol. And Ty Gibbs was lightning fast at Wilkesboro. He just got that penalty early on, and it took him all race to claw back to the front. But Toyotas are still really fast at short tracks, and you're probably wondering why I haven't talked about road courses yet. Well, there's not a road course in the chase this year. Charlotte Roval was replaced early in the season with just they're going to go back to the oval again for the chase, which is really fun because the Charlotte Oval brings great racing in the next gen car. One of the next gen car's rare positives. It races pretty solid on intermediates, so that's the one thing about it. And thankfully, we get to see more of it in the chase. The chase kicks off at Darlington. Um, Again, you look at Darlington in the spring, it was obviously won by Tyler Reddick. RFK brought lightning fast cars that race as well, though. But this was, again, a race where 2311 just had great cars at the racetrack. I mean, Riley Herbst qualified really well. Bubba Wallace was doing really well. Then this was low-key the start of Bubba Wallace's bad luck streak. Had some problems. Got in a wreck almost. He had like an issue with the car, and he was slow all day. But Tyler Reddick won this race. But my point is, the Toyotas are going to be fast all chase. We got Gateway. Last Gateway race, it was won by Denny, right? Yeah, it was. What do you know? That's the second race in the chase. Again, even if Denny doesn't win again, and winning's a big thing because now winning, grants you 15 more points over second. And, that's what Tyler Reddick's been able to do better than anyone this year. He still has the most wins at 5, I believe. I think Denny only has 4. Yeah. Denny only has 4, but Reddick has 5. Of course, Denny has won way more recently than him and won more recently. Won a lot recently. But Tyler Reddick has still had the pace, but he's fallen back in points. He's gotten in some wrecks and stuff like that, had some issues. And just like that, Denny Hamlin, when we all thought at like race 10 that Reddick had the regular season title in the bag, he's now 4th in points. And Denny Hamlin has an insane lead over Ryan Blaney. He's going to win the regular season title. It's a foregone conclusion. But I do think it is in Denny's best benefit that, second place in points right now at least is a Ford, not a Toyota. Again, I think if Toyota wins this championship, no matter what. Um, Again, Ford has stepped it up, but Toyota is still the best manufacturer by far this season. Chevy has literally been shitting themselves the entire season. Even Chase Elliott, uh, who has 2 wins, who has been pretty solid for Hendrick. I feel like Chase has actually been had a lot of inconsistent tendencies this season, which is unusual for Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott was known as by haters the last few seasons as he can't win. He's in Hendrick equipment, but he has the best. Like he has a great average finish, and he finishes good. He keeps the car clean. He doesn't get in accidents, but that doesn't matter to me. He doesn't win. Now it's like, well, Chase has won 2 races, and he's been in competition to win, a few more. Uh, but he's had races like Charlotte that it's easy to forget about. But Chase just wrecks himself early on, wrecks himself out of the Coke 600 really early on in the event. I mean, just leaving points on the table there. What's another example? Obviously Wilkesboro got unlucky with a caution caused by his teammate, but got unlucky there. Just a lot of points left on the table because Chase was really fast that race, had a top 5 car. You look at track, and then you look at the road courses. When you think Chase Elliott in the next gen era, the first thing you're probably going to think of is road courses. What the fuck happened? This guy was 1 of 1 at road course tracks the end of the Gen 6 era. Nobody could hold a candle to him. Now what's happened? To be honest, I don't know. Obviously, there's scenarios like Watkins Glen where Hendrick actually brought tractors as a tribute to John Deere. But then there's San Diego. Chase Elliott was just slow. And, Kyle Larson was in the mix for the win. And it's weird. It's just Hendrick's had a bad year. But Chase is the only guy who's won. But it just feels like Chase could be doing so much more. Obviously, road courses really hasn't been his thing in the next year. Obviously, there's been runs like Sonoma, top 5 run last year. Coda, like a top 5 run last year on the fresh tires, late push at the end. There's like some road courses he can get a solid top 10, but it's like it's not the Chase Elliott we know and love and want to cuddle with. This is more of just like, this just isn't Chase Elliott. And I'm not acting like Chase Elliott is like some cerebral god. I'm just saying, the road courses is obviously taking a step back in the next gen era. So, yeah. Hendrick. My point is Hendrick's been bad. And even the guy who's done the best for him this year hasn't even been that great either. So I don't think Hendrick's going to have a shot to win this champion. Obviously, theoretically, they're going to have a shot. They're not going to win it. No Chevy's going to win the title. No Ford's going to win the title. Again, I think Blaney gives you your best shot. No, guys, it's an even year. Joey Logano's going to win. He's not. I know the hype train is huge right now. Logano's not going to win the championship. If you said, okay, which Ford do you think could win the championship? Is Ryan Blaney all day. Every time Penske has a shit day, Ryan Blaney still manages to have a good run. I just feel like Blaney has persevered way more. He just can make a doo-doo pile of Febreze better than Joey Logano can right now. And again, that is the dumbest analogy I have made in my 17-year life. But that's just, what I'm trying to say is Blaney just has a way better shot. He's been quicker than Logano. He's a better driver than Logano at this point in his career. That's not a crazy take. And, yeah. Do I think Joey can make a push and be in the mix? For sure. There's a good amount of road course. There's a good amount of short tracks in the chase. That helps him out a lot. There's tracks like Gateway that they race like a short track, really. Bristol's obviously in the chase. Martinsville's in the chase. What's another one that I think I'm missing? Fuck. Excuse me. What's another one? God, I'm going to lose my mind. But anyway, but there's still not as much short tracks in the chase as there are intermediates, which is where the Toyotas. Oh my God. Oh yeah, Phoenix. Sorry, I had a hiccup mania. Phoenix, obviously. Which grants like Logano a good shot, and Blaney too. I wouldn't be surprised if Blaney goes back to back. But at Phoenix this year. But you're probably like, why is it Denny? Why do you put Denny over a guy like Christopher Bell or Chase Briscoe or even Ty Gibbs? Ty Gibbs has been insanely impressive this year. He's finally been the guy that everybody kind of expected him to be coming out of the Xfinity Series or O'Reilly Series. Now, he had a great season when he was in Xfinity. He had a great career there, and it's like everybody's kind of been waiting a little bit and waiting, and then there was a horrible streak last season of just a not so good time for him. And here he is now. He has been consistent from literally the start of the year to right now. Ty Gibbs is right there with Denny for his chase chances in my book. But it's weird because I guess when you're talking championship chances, you're kind of not talking about them. The same way people in the O'Reilly series aren't really talking about how Brandon Jones has been really consistent the last few weeks, or like throughout the season. I'm not saying Brandon Jones is going to win the O'Reilly title. I'm just saying, you don't talk about it much when it comes to championship chances, but being consistent in the chase is the big thing. And Ty Gibbs has done a great job of that, but Denny Hamlin's done an even better job of that. Him leading the points, obviously, tells that story just better than I could. And it just seems like he doesn't have off days whenever there's a track that he even has a subtle chance of winning at. Richmond, I look at that track. Denny wasn't really a factor to win, but he finished fourth. Even when he doesn't have the car that can win, he gets the most out of it. And in the chase, that's going to matter so much. It just seems like he just isn't getting in accidents. He's just doing everything that he's needed to do. If he keeps it up, he's going to win the championship by like 60 points, maybe even more, genuinely. Talladega is obviously a big question. And again, we all know the shittiness of Talladega in the next-gen car. It's gridlock. But, Elijah, come on. Carson Hocevar won the spring Talladega race. It was electricity. You know goddamn well that was a shitty-ass race with a shitty-ass finish that had gridlock for the last, 30 laps of the event, both in Stage 3, the final stage, and Stage 2. That was not a good race. Oh, congrats to Carson Hocevar, dude. I'll give him a fucking Nobel Peace Prize. He was there. He put himself in position to win, I guess, but I can't say I guess he did, but it's gridlock. He can't make a move on anyone. So obviously it's like, where do you think Denny will fall in the totem pole there? I think it's just a matter of luck. It's Talladega, and Tanner brought up this thing in the group chat the other day. A big telltale of who would win the championship in the chase era before now. In the chase, from 04 to 13. It was who escaped Talladega unscathed or cleaned up some points. And didn't leave too much points on the board. That was a big telltale of who would win the championship. So I think Denny not only is going to have a great start to the chase, Talladega is going to be a big telltale. And if he can even have a decent day there, that'll be good enough for him. Like a 20th place finish, he can just get out of there unscathed. Maybe some chase drivers run into mishaps, which I'm sure will happen. Even though Talladega is not known for too much chaos in the next gen era compared to the Gen 6 era. But then after that, after Dega, I believe after Dega's Phoenix, right? Wait, let me think of that. Because I know Homestead's to end off the season. Obviously, you look at a guy like Tyler Reddick or Kyle Larson who can win this race, but I already stated, Kyle Larson won't win the championship. The 400-day or whatever winless streak, we could point towards that. He's still been pretty fast some races, but Kyle Larson's also shot himself in the foot a lot this season. And that stretches back from the start of the season, too. You look at Atlanta, where he just wrecked himself, and other guys, I believe, too. It's just weird. It's really been uncharacteristic of him. Wrecked himself in Chicagoland. It's just weird. Not a good season from Kyle Larson. But maybe he'll bounce back next season. He's not going to win the championship this season, though, for sure. Mark it down and stamp it. After Dega is Martinsville. And Martinsville, Denny has been great in the spring there the last two seasons. In the fall, it's been more of a mixed bag. We saw William Byron won there last year. I cannot speak. I'm sorry. Uh, holy shit. Blaney, uh, you know, Chase Elliott won here in the spring this year. Even though it was a good call by Alan Gustafson, a really lucky call. It was okay. Look, and this coming from a Chase Elliott fan, it was a little bit of a goofy caution, but we'll take the win. Um, but another thing that race that I kind of want to point out, and again, don't be fooled. The next gen car isn't a good car, and a great reason why is this. Chase Elliott was talking about, he's getting interviewed, and he was talking about, throughout the race, he felt like his balance was just fine. He felt that the car felt just fine. It felt really good. But, the problem? He couldn't move because you can't pass in this shitty-ass car. It's so bad. And again, the big thing is Chase gets that caution, a few more restarts, and Chase gets ahead of Denny Hamlin. And it's like, oh, Denny Hamlin, he's been in the dominant car all day. Chase Elliott's got to hold him off. Oh, Chase Elliott's been 8th place the whole race. He's not going to be able to hold him off. You know what Chase was able to do? Hold him off because, and it was obvious, Chase had a really good car, and Denny also couldn't pass, but Denny couldn't really get up to him too much because Chase had a really good car, but because you can't really pass from like 5th on back, it's just really hard to tell who's fast and who isn't most weeks in the next gen car. It just really is hard to. Brickyard 400, every year, you can't pass. It's such a great example because you really don't know who's fast and who's not throughout the race because you might have a guy in 20th place who has a car that probably handles really good, but he can't make any moves anyway, so it doesn't matter. Obviously that's me trying to act like an expert. But yeah, I was just a little side rant about just how bad the next gen car is. Although it doesn't take a genius to know that. It has gotten better with the extra horsepower at some tracks, especially Dover. I really liked the All-Star race. That was the first All-Star race I was really tuned into because the racing was really fun to watch. So hopefully that continues. But another big reason I would say Denny's going to win the championship is just, I'm not going to say some stupid shit like, oh, it's about time or anything like that. It just sounds stupid because that's just not how life works. It is about time for Denny to win a title, but that's not going to be one of the reasons. I think it's just like, Denny's one that's really, it just feels like at this point, he's not going to fold under pressure. Under the most pressure of his life last season, in the championship race, he locked in and he dominated the championship race. He had the fastest car. There was no doubt about it. He didn't fold. William Byron's tire exploded. And, on the pit call, he went with 4. Larson went with 2. Then he got close to him, but a little too late. That's just how it is sometimes with those late race restarts. That wasn't a fold on Denny Hamlin's part. I just feel like Denny's going to lock in even more somehow than he has during this regular season. You can just, earlier in the season he was like, after Pocono, it was like he just wants the wins. He doesn't care about points too much, but we know he does. And when he enters the chase with this 25-point gap, he's going to manage it. He's going to slowly pull away. He's going to win the title. It's just going to happen. It's Denny's year. Be happy because it's happening. You can stamp it.